Welcome back. Yahoo Finance here at Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity. And joining us now, we've got a great one for you folks. Tariq Hassan, who is the Chief Marketing Officer and Chief Customer Experience Officer at McDonald's. You know him. You love the arches. Thanks so much for taking some time.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. All right. Without kind of belaboring this, we got to ask, because everybody wants to know, about Grimace. Can we talk about Grimace for a hot second?
We can absolutely talk.
Okay.
It's about Grimace, right? And Yahoo Purple. So,
it is.
You know, we're in color.
And so, I mean, yeah, I think about Grimace. I think about my own Philadelphia sports fandom. We grew up with some questionable mascots growing up. We had the Philly Fanatic. We had Gritty. People wonder what they are. People wonder what Grimace is.
What does Grimace represent?
Yeah, so well, first of all, Grimace represents joy and happiness,
Okay.
right? And the way he shows up. But a lot of debate over what Grimace actually is, even in our own culture, and a little bit of lore. But, you know, the lore is that he represents a taste bud.
So it is a he.
Well,
You're right,
you
Brad.
know
I didn't
what?
realize it was a taste bud. I'm an 80s kid. I didn't
taste
realize
bud.
So he's a, supposedly a taste bud, but he's joy, right? I mean, if you think about the happiness and the joy he brings, and he's kind of that McDonald land friend glue, keeps everybody together and optimistic, and we love bringing him back. People are having a great time.
So I've seen Grimace really explode on social media over the past few weeks. How does that translate into the business of McDonald's? Do you see a pickup in traffic because of this you have hit a cultural moment with this character?
You hit on the bigger issue, which is the leverage of culture in general that we're driving the business with, and I use that word very specifically because it's one thing to connect with your audience, but look, at the end of the day, our responsibility is also to drive the business and make sure we're showing up for our franchisees and growing the business. What we uncovered actually a few years ago when Morgan first launched Travis Scott and our famous orders was an awakening of the brand. Mm-hmm. People reconnecting and realizing that there was a value to this brand that frankly I think we had forgotten, and we had lost a bit of our swagger. But what it really untapped for us was the power of culture. And that's a big word, everyone uses it, but we set that as our North Star to really become a cultural icon. And we talk about meeting culture at the intersection of commerce, to your point about driving the business. But that's a big word. So what do we do with it? And we talk about it in 4 areas. We're a food company, so of course we're going to impact the taste of culture. We want to live in the culture of our fans. We're leveraging data to create value, which creates long-term relationships. And with a digital first generation, that is culture with them. And then we're McDonald's, so we shouldn't just be participating in culture, we should be creating it, which means if you're going to do it externally, that gives you a thought to how you have to build that culture internally. And that's really what's been the driver of the business for the last 2.5 years.
You mentioned the Travis Scott collaboration. That was just one of many. It seems like there's one that's coming out every other week at this point, but they're some of the most famous musicians, entertainers, people who are already circulating within homes on a daily basis and around the world. And so from a McDonald's perspective, from a business person's perspective, how does that translate into quantifiable returns for the brand?
Yeah, well, first of all, it starts with who you choose to work with. And for us, while the list of who you rattled off are some great folks, what's fantastic about them is we're not working with them because they're celebrities. We're actually working with them because they're actually fans of the business already. And that's why you're seeing we don't just partner with them, we actually collaborate with them. And we're turning the pen over to them. So in the case of Travis Scott, involved in the design, package design, involved in the merch design, BTS, same thing, Mariah, and the thing is, all those meals are theirs, right? And so what you're really doing is tapping into the fact that everyone's got their meal that's their favorite, and this gives you a chance to tap into these celebs that you love as fans and taste a little of their favorites. And what we are seeing is absolute translation into the sales and the growth of the business.
What's next on the partnership front?
Oh, you're going to come at me on that, are you? So here's what I will tell you. It's not another famous order. You probably have seen your last famous order for a little while. We had a great experience with that. You're going to see us continue to tap into that childhood loss that you saw us do last fall with the Adult Happy Meal and with Cactus Plant Flea Market. We're going to continue to play in that space, and you're seeing it today with Grimace. And that was a really good way of me dodging telling you specifically what's next.
So why?
Because I got a surprise and delight.
Why target? I guess you're kind of targeting me. I guess an aging millennial. Why such a focus on that demographic, and why are you so confident you can get that customer back in the door?
So here's what's great. We're actually targeting multicultural youth, and we had a real down cycle on how we were doing with that segment. So that 17 to 34, 17 to 24 kind of range that's really important, and really also thinking about the multicultural youth. And you think about the youth market today, the most diverse market we've ever seen as a generation. But what we're doing is we're tapping in and understanding that fan relationship, and then we're wrapping the executions around things that have a little more universal appeal. So that Happy Meal experience, no matter what generation you were, you understood it and you related to it. You wrap a cactus plant flea market over and you connect with the youth market. You tap into the insight around the Happy Meal, and I remind you of your youth. And so it's really a reflection of how this brand just has an incredible universal emotional connection with folks, and you just got to wrap it up in a way that anyone can find their way to connect with it.
At the same time, people think of an environment like this where the recession word is thrown out there in every other conversation, seemingly.
Yeah.
And they're trying to find value in their purchases, especially in the food that they're putting into their bodies, that they're going out and giving to their family as well. During a time where consumers are looking to McDonald's, how does that either elevate the marketing spend or cause you to be more judicious about where you're spending?
Yeah, look, I think the good news is for us, we are a brand that people have always expected that affordability and value, and we show up for our customers to deliver that for them. But we're living in some pretty unprecedented times in terms of what that inflation looks like. And so we continue to ensure that we've got offerings on the menu, whether that's our value meal offerings or how we think about pricing in relationship to the market, and ensuring that we're listening to our customers. Even the way we approach our pricing strategy is through the lens of understanding what our customers are willing to deal with in this environment, and make sure we're there for them. And we're accelerating through this time where others are struggling. And the scale of our organization allows us to pass on that benefit to our customers, and that's something we're going to continue to do, frankly, recession or not.
As you look into the presidential election cycle next year, we're getting a lot of a different range of opinions. A lot of marketers are telling us we're going to continue to be out there front and center. Others, I think, have suggested to us they're going to pull back. From a McDonald's standpoint, where do you stand? Do you want to see an ad for a Big Mac placed next to, let's say, an article on a Biden-Trump re-election run?
Look, I think for us, whether it's an election year or not, we line the brand up around some pretty specific brand safety approaches and values for the brand, and we line those up against the media strategy for everything we do. We're a brand that, like 90% of the country walks through our doors every year, and so we are one of the most democratized brand in the country, which means we just have to be in a place where we represent that relationship to everyone. On the whole, we don't tend to spend a lot in the news space. Frankly, it's just not where our customers are, and it's frankly not where the values of the brand sit. And so I think unlike certain brands that are maybe trying to figure out how they juggle that, we know where that place is where we meet our fans, where they're contextually thinking about us, and those are the places we're going to be. What I will tell you is we don't envision any kind of slowdown in how we're approaching the growth of the business and continue to support it because it's working, and we're seeing it both in terms of our sales, but also what we're seeing in terms of fan affinity for the brand.
Are the chicken sandwich wars done?
No, make no mistake, and we're really thrilled. We continue to steal share in that side of the business. It is going to be as robust as the burger business is. As you look at the consumption of chicken in the country, it continues to go. We are not taking our eye off the ball. We got a great sandwich in McCrispy.
Well, you have a different philosophy, I think, in chicken sandwiches. You have the spice in a dressing on top of the chicken. Everybody else breads it in. I consume these products.
Well, remember, we carry two, right? If you're a longtime lover of a McChicken like I am, that's got that great peppery batter right on it. Yep. But then the crispy chicken gets you into the larger patty and a whole meat sandwich that people just love. And so we think we're going to continue to play there. And of course, we've got our famous nuggets, which nobody comes.
Brad, he did his job. He sold me on a sandwich.
Facts and nuggets at the same time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, it's a real pleasure to talk to you guys. Thanks
Absolutely.
so much.
That's McDonald's Chief Marketing Officer and Chief Customer Experience Officer Tariq Hassan joining us here at Cannes Lion Festival of Creativity. We'll toss it back to you in New York.
All right, that was Yahoo Finance's Brad Smith and Brian Sozzi there, speaking with McDonald's USA Chief Marketing and Customer Experience Officer Tariq Hassan.